I'm going to do a quick unboxing and overview of this particular system, which is a Dell Dimension XPS 8940 Special Edition. What's special about this in 2021 is it has a GeForce GTX 30 series graphics card in it, and it's less than $1,500. I bought this on President's Day over a sale along with many of you, but I have some frustrations in the fact that I have no idea what AIB graphics card is in this. I couldn't find any information. I did find one guy who had a 3070 machine, and it was some hodgepodge NVIDIA Founders Edition board twin axial fan cooler. So that's going to be my main focus on this today, and I'll do a few benchmarks on it too, but let's get the box open first. In the top, just like every Dell pre-built in the last 20 years, you have a power cord, a mouse, and a keyboard. We'll cover those in a little bit of detail later, but let's get this out of the way and get to the foam and the computer underneath. And here you have it. No bag or anything. It's kind of nice seeing a little amount of single-use plastic. I'm not sure this foam is very eco-friendly, but it is nice. Definitely protects it in shipping. This computer is available in black or white. I didn't actually see an option when I bought it, so I got white, and I think that's actually a-okay. I kind of like that. So I'll pull this out, let's take a look around it, and then let's get inside. Remove before use. Okay. I think it probably means the entire front plastic, which covers up a good chunk of the airflow on the front, which, as I've heard from other people that have received these, is not good to begin with anyway. So let's start with the outside. Optical disk drive. You don't see that very often, and I actually use it a lot, so I'm happy to see that. USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, USB 3.1 Gen 2, I think, USB 3s, 3 of them, which is nice. Combination TRS headphone microphone, so for a headset that's nice. SDXC slot, also really nice. Decent looking texture. There's really nothing special about this. It definitely looks like an office machine more than a gaming machine. In the back, looks like we have an 80mm fan. This actually is not correct for the marketing material, and I'm glad to see this. So we have an HDMI, probably 2.0, and a DisplayPort, probably 1.4, for the integrated graphics in this CPU, which it shouldn't have, because when I ordered this, it was spec'd as a 10700F, and the F in an Intel SKU means no graphics. So K is unlocked, F is no graphics. Down here we can see our 3060 Ti. That definitely looks like a reference. Gigabit LAN, 2 USB 2.0s, which means this is probably compatible with Windows 7, which is kind of cool. 4 USB 3.1 Gen 2s, and you have a complement of line-in, line-out microphone back here as well. Down here you'll see the 500 watt 80 plus platinum power supply. It is a standard for Dell power supply, but of course it is proprietary and won't work with any other system. So let's get the side panel off. That was actually very, very easy. And our 3060 Ti is very small indeed. So it's not a Founders. Although I haven't even powered this thing on yet. It's nice, the power supply does give you a 6 and an 8, so there's some room for upgradability here. Okay, so that looks just like the 3070. It is not a Founders Edition board, but honestly, I see at least 4 5 or 6 millimeter nickel-plated copper heat pipes, a really nice fin stack. I'd say this should do just fine considering these GPUs don't tend to draw much more than 160 watts. So I'm actually pretty happy with that little card. It's definitely Dell OEM, but I don't see any issue with that at all. Other than that, inside, I've also seen from other reviewers that they've selected dual channel 2933 memory, and they have received single channel. So I have a proper dual channel configuration here. In the front, you'll see a 1 terabyte hard drive. I should see an SSD. I guess that's what that is. Wow, that's tiny. So it's a 2230 SSD, and that should be 250 gigabytes. The RAM, not much to it. Wow, single rank. It is SK Hynix. And it's actually faster than rated. So I bought 2933, and this looks like 3200. So that's actually nice, better than expected. So far, this computer is actually better built and better specified than I ordered, which is nice. So I'm actually expecting when we boot this up that this is a 10700, not a 10700F. Motherboard, we see no cooling on the VRM at all, which I don't like at all. This is a 10700, which means it's a 9900K, which means it draws a lot of power. So I'd really like to see some cooling on there. The thermal solution looks barely adequate. Cooling looks pretty bad. PCIe by 1 slot, which is nice for expansion. You got the by 16 here, and it actually looks like with this card you have a usable by 4 as well. You do not see these very often. Typically they'll go straight all the way up to a by 16 fake slot with the by 4 by 8 pins in there. So let me put the RAM and the GPU back in and let's power it up. So one thing, it's Windows 10 Home, not Pro. It requires you to use a Microsoft account. Usually you can get around that if you install it on your own. There is definitely a Dell support thing in the menu bar that's not normally here. Lots of Dell stuff. They put Dropbox on here. It's nice they put in the HEVC extension so you can read videos and photos off of iPhones. McAfee, Media Suite Essentials. This is actually kind of nice. It's for the optical drive. Wavemax audio. It's just the regular crap for the actual hardware on the computer. Nothing too terrible there. Actual NVIDIA drivers. That's kind of nice to see. Old ones at that, but wow, if it actually comes with Power Director, that's a great deal. So actually, really, the bloatware isn't too bad. Let's go to Task Manager. Let's see what this thing is. It's a 10700, so it has integrated graphics. That's actually really, really cool to see. Shows it right there. So that's actually a huge added bonus if you buy this to do video editing in Premiere. You can use QuickSync, and then here, of course, is our 3060 Ti. It's running at 39 degrees Celsius. Our RAM is running at 2933. I might go into the BIOS and see if I can boost that up to 3000 after I run some benchmarks. CPU, of course, is running at stock. So here are some details on the processor. You can see that it does indeed have UHD 630 integrated graphics. There's our CPU, 10700, and yeah, our 3060 Ti. Does have Samsung memory. Driver is very up to date, November 22, 2020. Honestly, that's still pretty up to date. I know it's ancient as far as game ready drivers are, but I bet this will launch any game right now. Other than that, it looks pretty standard. Currently running at 49C after installing a bunch of stuff. There's the motherboard info. There's the memory. Aha, more details on that. So it is 3200, it sees that. That's interesting. It was made a long time ago. It's a good processor. So there's the CPU bench number. I just pulled a copy of the BIOS off of here for Tech Power Up 2, but I'm gonna download some game launchers and Cinebench, and we'll run a couple benchmarks. The R20 score is actually pretty bad, I have to say. I think that's being hamstrung by the memory and the motherboard, though. At VRM, even the cooler, this thing's probably running at like 90C. And just a quick note, because I know a lot of us that are spending way more than we should on GPUs are mining when we're not gaming. It looks like we're doing 45 to 47 megahash a second on Excavator for Ethereum at stock. And it looks like between 52 and 55 megahash with a pretty typical, we'll call it mod. There's our PC Mark score, 5943. So here we have the VRMark Orange Room benchmark, getting almost 270 frames per second. So definitely a very strong contender for VR use. Time Spy Extreme. Regular Time Spy. Pretty good scores. Here is Port Royal. Regular old Fire Strike. Here is 1080p extreme superposition. And last but not least, 4K optimized.